Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Weekly Free podcast. 3. Yes, there's no 2 other guests, you might be asking. Absolutely, there isn't. I'm talking to myself in a room right now because I am the only lasting member of the Weekly Free podcast. And you might be thinking, why all of a sudden now have you decided to come out of hiding? Well, I haven't been running from the FBI because the FBI isn't in the UK, is it, guys? Yeah, I've got you thinking now, haven't I? I've not been running from the MI5 because I'm so quick, I make medicine sick. Didn't steal that from Muhammad Ali. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I just wanted to say, that I am back. It took me some time to go out and hone my skills. It took me some time, I basically wanted to go out. I fell out of love with the whole YouTube game, if I'm completely honest with you guys. I went into the media course and I just had this burning desire to do YouTube again. Then I ran into a problem. Weekly Free. We don't have 2 other guests. That is a big problem. But it can be rectified. It can be rectified, people. It really can. Trust me. I'm not clinging on to no hope like Lincoln this season. Ladies and gentlemen, I have got a solution to this problem. Yes, we may talk about a lot of fouls, and there's nobody better at talking about fouls in football than the guest that I am going to be introducing today. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only new co-host, John Fowler.
Hey, pleasure.
Nailed it. It took me about 4 times to do this intro, didn't it?
Yeah, well, let's not go into that.
Basically,
pleasure to be here.
Basically, forgot to press record, didn't I, on one of them, but then it's all good because we were able to improvise and get John on again. The amount of times, mate, John, you've had a leg workout today, haven't you? Getting up and down.
Getting up steep hill, standing
hill.
up, waiting for all this to be sorted out.
Yeah.
And then obviously getting it all ready and recording and stuff, and then going down steep hill again later. So
yeah,
had quite a leg workout today, but no.
You're a proper Slim Jim lad. You're looking well.
I wish I was.
Ladies and gentlemen, anyway, John, how does it feel to be sat in the same exact chair that Jackie Weaver sat on?
Is it the same chair Jackie Weaver sat on? I mean, you did interview her on Zoom.
Shut up, John. No one has to know.
Nah, Jackie sold this chair to George, and for this podcast, I will be sitting in the very same chair Jackie Weaver signed herself.
Yeah, absolutely.
She signed it. She sat on it.
Yeah.
The very exact same chair that Jackie Weaver sat on for that famous interview all those years ago.
Absolutely. 100% the same exact chair. All authentic. On eBay tonight. No other chair exists in the world.
It won't be on eBay tonight because it's my chair now.
Oh, bloody hell, look here. I am
off the blocks here.
I've been put in my place,
yes.
guys. I've been put in my place.
Yes.
All right. So, John, we've known each other for a long time, haven't we?
Very long time, 11 years now.
Absolutely. We've known each other for quite a long time. Would you like to tell everyone how we met?
So, me and George went to the same school together, and we were in the same school together from year 3 up until about the end of year 11.
Yep, that is
so, we left school at the same time. George was a year ahead of me, but same age. We left school at the same time.
Yeah.
And you did a year of sixth form. Then we left to move to college, and then George did media. I've been doing sports, so we've been based in different campuses around the college.
Yeah, we have, haven't we?
But no, we've kept in touch, and now obviously we, see each other around college all the time, and I go to football with him, and then we decided, right, well, shall we come up with a podcast?
Yeah.
Bring back Weekly 3.
Absolutely, Weekly 3. More to be announced on that later.
There's more to come. More to come. Don't you worry, this is just the beginning.
I think they are worried. They're like, oh no, more episodes.
No. And I can promise you now, the other hosts, the other guests, they haven't disappeared. Well, Oh, they've moved on.
I kind of made that sound like they...
You made it sound like they'd been wiped off the face of the earth by an asteroid or a virus or something. No, COVID didn't get them. No, they survived COVID, but they've moved on. And this podcast survived COVID. Funny enough, actually, after lockdown, this podcast kind of like died. And 4 years later, everybody, the podcast is back. So that could either be a really, really good thing, or it could be, the start of an apocalypse.
I'm being destroyed on my own podcast.
No.
I know. I love this.
No, secretly, he's loving it.
Yeah, I am. Basically, it did die. It did die.
Yeah.
It really did.
Yeah.
And that is no fault of my own, but I'm very glad to be running it up, and I'm very glad that he's back.
I'm glad to be here.
Even if no one else is. So anyway,
More
John,
to come on that later.
So John, what do you do?
So, I was part of the football team last year. I wasn't interested in playing. I was offered a role as a work experience, but also not at the same time helping the old coach we had.
Yeah.
So I helped him. We got to the national finals at St George's. He left. He was offered a job, but he didn't get given it.
That's unfortunate.
A new coach came in, and this year I obviously moved into a higher level, level 2, and they'd asked me if they wanted me to be a part of the inclusion ambassador team that they were setting up at college.
Yep.
So I became part of that, and part of that was work experience, helping the supported education football team, and it's going well so far. We're going to the national finals again this year, representing the East Midlands. So,
any favourite memories?
Probably getting to the national finals last year.
Yeah.
was a good one. We came runners up. We lost to a West Brom team, disability team.
Yeah.
It's probably the highlight. I think the favourite moment. Special moment, I think.
Absolutely. That is really, really incredible. What skills have you learnt from it?
Well, I've learned a lot about leadership.
Yeah.
I've learned a lot about the qualities of a coach, and I've learned that at the end of the day, it's about teamwork.
Yeah.
And as long as you're driven and determined to succeed, then your team will be driven and determined to succeed.
Yeah, absolutely. We watch football, don't we?
Yes, Lincoln City season ticket holders.
Absolutely, and I don't know whether I have much pride in announcing that these days, but we are very much Lincoln City season ticket holders.
Well, George, you've seen the worst, haven't you? So
I have, unfortunately.
Yeah.
More or less said about that, the better, but I will get on to the good that we have seen. We'll start on the positive. Peterborough versus Lincoln City now then. 5-1 drubbing to Peterborough. They have the worst Peterborough side we've seen in years, and it's probably the best we've played against.
Probably the worst Peterborough side we've seen in our lifetimes, to be honest with you. I mean, usually when Peterborough come to Sincil Bank or we go to play Posh, they always have like this. They have a team, a strong team, a very physical team, some creative attacking players in there as well. And they just came to Sincil Bank on Saturday and offered absolutely nothing. Yeah. We just absolutely wiped the floor with them. I mean, it was a young and inexperienced Peterborough team, which, okay, fine, they sold all their best players, but that Peterborough team was woeful.
It was, wasn't it?
I think they're the worst team that have been to Sincil Bank all season. And Mansfield came to Sincil Bank and we wiped the floor with them. So, but Peterborough were worse.
Absolutely.
They were awful. The supporters were good. A lot of them did leave after the fourth goal, which I can't really blame them because they were getting embarrassed on the big day out. So they all went to get the early train because they couldn't handle big Lincoln beating little old Peterborough. Nah, I promise you this I'm not going to roast Peterborough all podcast, but
no contest at all. I mean, again, there's been so many times where they've beaten us, so it felt bittersweet.
5 years, and purely ironic, coincidental that we beat them by 5 goals with 5 goals. Well, it was a 4-goal match, but we beat them with 5 goals, didn't we? So, 5 years, 5 years, 5 goals to celebrate the end of the 5-year run.
That's a really good way of putting it. I never actually thought of it that way.
Yes. Tom Bayliss, what a free kick. George Grant-esque from that last game against Peterborough, which we beat them.
Yeah.
And then since then, it's just been 5 years of pain and
I'll tell you about
disappointment.
I'll tell you about that. the George Grant free kick, do you know what's ironic?
What's ironic?
They're both very similar the way they went in, right?
Top
and that was the
corner.
last time that we beat Peterborough.
Same end as well, wasn't it?
So, yeah, same end. Genuinely was
Jesus
the same.
Christ.
That is coincidental,
Same end.
isn't it? Hopefully Lee don't go to the Scottish Premier. But
Oh no, George Grant went to Peterborough first.
oh,
so
no,
let's
Tom,
just
don't Peterborough. Anyway,
no Peterborough. You stay well away from Tom Baylor. They're going down to League Two anyway, so
yeah,
oh
absolutely.
well, they'll have fun at Grimsby and Bromley next season, and we'll hopefully get some good away days when Luton and Derby come down. Fingers crossed.
Yes.
No disrespect to Luton and Derby fans, but I would love a trip to the Kenny, and I didn't get to go to Derby the last couple of seasons, so Derby's a nice ground, I've heard, and I'd love to go. But Peterborough, they're heading the opposite way, I think.
Yeah, I think they are. Fortunately,
Yes.
Basically, we was talking about it, weren't we?
Yeah.
In a coincidence, I was there at the game, right? 'Cause I have a different seat to John.
Yes.
Because I get enough of him on the podcast, if I'm honest. But basically, we will go on.
Lovely. Made me feel very welcome, that George.
He destroyed me earlier.
It's even then. Even.
It's even. Basically, the thing with the thing was, I remember looking at a free kick, and not you, James. It was the actual other man next to us, up to my left, that said, "Oh, this is going top corner. This is." He kicks it, and it goes top corner, and I was like, "That is sublime foreshadowing." Next one, it's a corner, and I said, "We're gonna either Hamilton or Collins is gonna get the goal with their first touch." What happened? So you know what?
Hamilton.
I
Bear in mind, it was a deflection. It was ruled as an own goal.
I'd like to announce today that I believe that I am God.
You believe you're God.
I'm-
No, it's funny.
I'm God. I'm the football God.
It's funny because I had the exact same feeling. I said to my mate who was on to the right of me, next to me, and I said to him, as I have a feeling it's going to be 2-0 City here.
Yeah.
I just had that feeling, probably because it was quite close to the goal.
Yeah.
Nothing to take, not taking away anything
Yeah.
from the finish, but I think the fact that it was, as you say, in a really good position,
Yeah.
same position as George Grant, same sort of position as George Grant 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Tom Bayliss, an attacking midfielder, wears the number 8. George Grant didn't wear the number 8, but he's an
He
attacking
wore
midfielder.
18 and then 10, didn't
Yes,
he?
so, you know, both English, both attacking midfielders.
Yeah. That's where the similarities end.
That's where the similarities end, but no, top corner. And, you know, 2-0 up at that point, I think, you know, we used it as a platform to go on and get further goals, which we did. The finish from Collins as well, by the way.
Delightful.
What a finish.
Absolutely.
On his
delightful.
debut. I thought McCarmel was going to go alone, to be honest with you. I thought McCarmel was just going to go and be selfish or pass to Derrickwa, but no, we saw Collins calling for it.
Yeah.
Lovely pass.
Yeah.
Spots the keeper coming off his line. Dinks it over the keeper.
Absolutely.
Beautiful.
Oh, it's beautiful, isn't it, mate? Absolutely. I think that it's unfortunate that we had such a high from the weekend and then
Yes.
such a low on
Last
Tuesday.
night. So we're recording this on the Wednesday, so we played Blackpool last night. So it's the afternoon after the night before, let's say. And we followed up on a really positive performance on Saturday with a really disappointing performance last night. And I'm not saying it was a bad performance.
Yeah.
Yes, if you're Lincoln fans, you will be aware that we lost. But,
Yeah.
of course, it wasn't a particularly bad performance, I don't think. Okay, we made a couple of defensive errors, but I thought we had enough chances in the game to maybe get ourselves back in it. And, yeah, on another day, I believe that we would have got at least a point, maybe even a win.
Absolutely.
Because Blackpool are a good team. There were 5 games unbeaten coming into this. There's Steve Bruce is the manager, ex-Newcastle manager. So we came into this off the back of a 5-1 win. Blackpool came into this off the back of a 5-game unbeaten run. And Blackpool came out on top.
Yeah, they did. They did more than that, John. They scored
Scored 2 goals, didn't
a couple
they?
of goals that were really, you know,
Which were, okay, poor defensively.
poor defending from Jacko for one of them.
Yes, Jackson, so solid. And I think he just had one of those moments, didn't he, where it was a bit of a not a great night for him, but I'm not going to slag any of the players off. So you won't be getting that from me on the podcast. Yes, I'll be honest.
Boring, how boring.
I'll be honest, but I will not throw anybody under the bus. And I think we dust ourselves off. We go again on Saturday, and we try and get a result at Wigan.
John, you. What's happened? Soon as the camera's on, oh yeah, we're gonna go up. Off camera.
Hey, I never said that. I never said that.
Off camera, you're so negative in the group chat.
Well, what happens in the group chat, what's said in the group chat stays in the group chat. So no, on a real though. I think there's been a lot of negativity about the club at the minute, and I think we're all guilty of saying stuff. I'm particularly guilty for saying stuff, and I was quite disappointed with a few people at the club. I don't want to name names, but because you never know, people from the club might be listening to this. But yeah. I think now we've just got to put on a united front, and we've just got to regroup and go again on Saturday, because the result at Northampton the other week, I thought that would be a springboard to go on and, get a good run, and I still think it could, I mean, let's not forget, we are not a Birmingham or a Huddersfield or a Wrexham. We do not have the finances that a lot of clubs in this league have. So we can't be spending 4 million on Joe Taylor or 12 million on Jay Stansfield, or even sign some lads from the Championship who are worth a lot of money. That's just not what we do. So for us to compete with the bigger clubs is hard.
Overall, I think the signing of Collins will have helped solve some inexperience up top for sure. Ben House doesn't. I hope he's okay. By the way, I'm sure that you have some news on that, John. But Ben House has been in and out, hasn't he, with injuries and things like that. Tyler Walker recovering from his injury that's sidelined him until next month, I think. I don't know whether he's even going to come back as early as that. That remains to be seen. So we've had quite a crisis up top. But Peterborough game told me that we can still score goals and can score them well.
Yeah.
But I just felt that it was one of those nights again with Lincoln where it just nothing really went right. And we had quite a few chances, didn't we? But Blackpool, for me, were definitely the better team. They kept pot shotting. They kept, they had possession. They pot shotted. They ran us riot at times. They capitalised really well on some defensive errors, and they took their chances, didn't they?
100%, I agree with that. They are a good team, and they have got some quality players, and I think, again, another team we have history with. Not looking for the sort of revenge that we have against Peterborough, but they're a nice team. They've got good setup. Their kit's nice. Yeah. Their fans didn't bring many, but good support, and I think, they're a good team, and why can't we be like that, I think? And I think that when you've got a team, these sort of teams in the Championship, coming down from the Championship into League One, it makes the league more competitive, more exciting. And yes, we talk about the money being spent in the league, and I think it is ridiculous. But fair play to Blackpool. They're a similar model to us. They sign young players, they sell them on for profit, they bring in more young players, and then they develop them. And I think that model works for them. It's worked for us because the amount of young players we brought in.
That's another thing. We have a young squad as well, don't we? We get a few.
One of the youngest in the division.
Absolutely.
I think Peterborough have the youngest in the league.
They do now because we signed a few older players and it's gone up a little bit, hasn't it?
So it's gone up a little bit.
Because we had Tendai, we have Sam, we have Collins now. Yes. So that's 3 experienced players. And I do definitely like elements of this young model, but I do like the balance. I think it's better now that we have got a few, experienced heads in, because I just felt that a big problem that happened, and it didn't necessarily affect us during COVID, did it? Because we had players like Brennan Johnson and Morgan Rogers, who, let's be real, are tearing up the Premier League. Maybe tearing up's a big word, but they're fitting in like a loaf of bread in a toaster. You know what I mean?
Good analogy.
Finally, a good little snippet coming out of my mouth. It took my time, didn't it?
It took you all of 15 minutes?
20.
20, even longer.
But basically, what happened? Yeah, so we had them. So it didn't really matter about experience as much. No. But when we had players that weren't as experienced and weren't as good, it did affect us, especially in moments where we would go behind or in moments where it come to composure in 1v1s. So I'm glad that we have got experience. And people, I think, associate experience with losing your legs. And no, we're not in World War One. No, not. No,
yes, thanks for the clarification.
but like, you lose your legs at 33, 34, they're not as good. But I do think that experience helps in the dressing room. Yes. It helps when we have to sit back. It helps when we have these moments in these games where it's like, how do we hold on? And the experienced head will be like, oh, you go over there, you go over there, way more sophisticated than I am in football language, but...
Thank you, I'll take that.
No, I mean...
Oh, you're not complimenting me.
Obviously, you are way more well-spoken than I am. I often think of myself as that...
You're very well-spoken as well, so...
That really means a lot. Sometimes when I speak, I feel like I'm that lad from the pub that's like, I'll have a Thatcher's, please, love.
Not stereotyping.
No, not stereotyping at all. If I was to actually stereotype, I probably should have said Carlin or Stella, but we move. Yeah, so what I'm trying to say is the experience really holds well, and I wouldn't be, as in, the footballer's not going to go, you do this, you do that. It's probably obviously going to be like your shoulder. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is I'm not a footballer, but I can only assume with that experience they're going to offer the wisdom to the younger players.
Yes.
So that's what I'm trying to say.
Yes.
Now, John, we've talked a lot about the football, haven't we?
Yes.
For sure. I wanted to go and take you to a little mini game that I've got in my head.
Okay.
And a lot of things are in my head when it comes to this type of improvisation.
I'm interested, intrigued.
I've had to improvise.
A bit scared as well. Never know what could come out of George's mouth.
You're not wrong. I don't know what comes out of my mouth sometimes. And I will improvise this. So, John, we want to find out a bit more about you. What's your favourite meal deal, John?
Oh, I'm going to be honest with you. It's going to cause a bit of controversy. I don't really eat like meal deals.
John!
I'm not a fan. I don't like sandwiches.
John! How could you?
And I know people will say, oh, you don't have to have just sandwiches, you can have wraps. But no, I don't look for a meal deal. Not my sort of thing.
Not your sort of thing?
No. If I had to pick, though,
yeah,
probably would be a wrap. A chicken wrap, one of those wraps.
Yeah.
Packet of ready salted crisps because I'm boring. And probably a bottle of Diet Coke or a Fanta or something.
Diet Coke, fair play. I love a man that likes to treat himself in the health department.
In the health department.
I really don't trust these cameras. John, be real. What do you usually get from the co-op?
A bottle of Coke.
Yeah.
Probably would be a Diet Coke now.
Yeah.
You know, just watch the sugar intake a little bit.
Yeah, I suppose.
But no, I drink a lot of at home, like squash or water or anything like that.
Yeah.
But obviously, it won't be my meal deal choice.
Do you know what? This is why I'm a fat bastard and you're a slim Jim.
Thanks,
Because
I appreciate that.
Because I'll tell you something. I am a bit more of a reckless ball when it comes to it. I'll have my bacon and chicken. So again, that's not too bad. But sometimes I'll invest in a chocolate. I'll have a packet of crisps sometimes. But I have been trying. I have been recently, in the last year. Don't know if you've noticed. In the last
year. 4 years, George.
It's been 4
years.
Definitely. Yeah, it's been a bit of a change.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a while.
But what I'm trying to say is I have been a bit more sensible. I totally agree with you, by the way. I always get a Pepsi Max or a Diet Coke. I definitely get the Pepsi Max because I just feel it tastes a lot better than a Diet Coke. I couldn't have a Diet Coke for me. I just feel that I don't know what it is about a Diet Coke. It tastes very bland for me.
Yeah. I mean, you're not wrong, but I also think Pepsi and that normal Coke tastes bland now. Since they've taken a lot of the sugar out. Maybe it's not a bad thing.
Jamie. Oliver, come on.
Yeah, it's not John Fowler on the podcast, it's Jamie Oliver.
Sugar tax bastard.
Sugar tax, no.
Go on.
No sugar tax.
Go on, what was you going to say?
No, I think if you have a water in your meal deal, it's a bit boring.
Absolutely.
Unless it's flavoured water.
Unless it's
why?
sparkling.
Just why?
Sparkling water.
No, sparkling water is awful, vile.
Yeah.
A very posh drink to an acquired taste. And it tastes very warm and really, like, it's warm. It's just warm and fizzy, and it's not nice at all.
Absolutely.
Do not like sparkling water.
I think it's all right. It has that taste.
It's weird.
That's all I can really say. It kind of, it feels warm, but it's not warm.
If it's flavoured sparkling
I'm trying to
water,
describe it to someone that hasn't had plain sparkling water.
I think the sparkling water that I had that I didn't like was in a can.
Yeah, oh gosh. Oh.
So that's probably why I wasn't keen on it, and that water was warm. If you get sparkling water out of a bottle, if it's flavoured sparkling water, then you're onto a winner. But if it's just plain sparkling water, then nah. Awful drink.
Yeah, totally agree.
I don't even like plain water at the best of times.
Andrew Tate is not going to agree with you on that, though.
No, I'm sorry.
No fivers being exchanged from Tate to John Fowler after that statement. But what I will say is, I totally agree with the whole sparkling water thing. It does taste a bit weird.
Yeah.
A
bit warm.
Yeah, a bit.
It's like when you drink warm Coke.
But I do like lemon and lime.
Lemon and lime's all right.
Yeah.
I think. Like I said, if it's flavoured, it's okay. But if it's not flavoured, if it's just plain sparkling water, then
you're a bit weird, aren't you? If you drink
it, why?
It's just a bit weird.
I can imagine that's the sort of drink that Boris Johnson would probably have, or someone like that. Maybe.
What's wrong with Bojo?
Actually, that's a good question. How many prime ministers have we had since this podcast? Boris Johnson was the last one.
Bloody hell.
So we've had, I think by my estimation, we've had on to our third now.
Yeah.
Third, maybe.
We had Boris when we did this.
I think it was the lettuce.
Then Richie.
Didn't last very long, Richie. And then
Kia, yeah.
So there's just everything. The political landscape has changed. The whole world has changed in the 4 years. I mean, we're no longer in lockdown. No, everything's just it's all changed. I mean, we're not in any lockdowns or anything. And Lincoln City is still in League One, so that's one thing.
So things that
since the podcast, since the podcast last aired, I think 2021, I think it was.
Yes, 2021.
The whole world's just it's changed, and whether or not you could say it's changed for the better, for the worse, I'll leave that up to you to argue. But we've come into this podcast in a new era. I think. I mean, thankfully, safe to say, AI is not going to be replacing us two anytime soon. So we're not going anywhere.
No replacement of AI for George Colquhoun. Anyway, John.
No, we're just two. This is an AI podcast. We're not real. We're not real. Here.
I mean,
no, but
if I wasn't real and this was an AI generated podcast, I've seen some of the AI generated reels. By the way, I'd be doing this. I'm not real. I'm not real, by the way. I am AI. Have you seen the GTA recreation? So basically, AI has been on San Andreas. It's been used by someone on San Andreas, and it's created some of the famous scenes. And you will notice that every character smiles as they're talking really creepily.
It's really disturbing. No, I haven't seen those, thankfully. And I wouldn't want to. But since 2021... we've had the rise of AI. We've had 3 different prime ministers. We've had what else have we had? Lincoln City have lost the playoff final.
Yeah. The Premier League has had Manchester City
winner
fall recently, but the same
to change this year.
Seem to change this year.
I mean, I hope I've not jinxed it, but
dominate last few years, haven't they?
Yeah. So there's been a lot of change in the world.
Yeah.
And I'd like to think that this podcast can move with the times and. Obviously not too far. We want to keep things the same, but we'll keep it as 3. Weekly 3. That'll be the name, and we'll get a guest on each week. This week, obviously, we decided George thought it'd be a good idea, and we decided both as a collective that first episode Just be us two talking.
We both sound like Noel Edmonds and Cliff Richard. Oh, we've got to move with the times.
Is Noel Edmonds the guy from Deal or No Deal?
Yes.
Or is that... I thought it was.
Yeah.
Thought it was.
It's like, Deal and No Deal, yeah. We've got to move with the times. We've got to keep up with the entertainment.
But no, it's mad to think that in the space of 4 years, we're both college students now, and things have just, It doesn't feel like it's been 4 years, though.
School when I did that.
Does it? It doesn't feel like it's
last
been
one.
It doesn't feel like it's been 4 years, though.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't feel like it's been 4 years since this podcast.
No, it really doesn't, John. I remember sitting down for that podcast vividly, by the way, sitting with Jackie Weaver, my only great moment. I'll tell you the story. I'll tell you, because we're discussing this, the other night, wasn't we?
Yeah, we were. We had a long call and we were talking about for a good half an hour. I think it was 20 minutes, half an hour, just talking about Jackie Weaver.
Basically, what happened was I was... You asked me how I got her on, and to this day I still don't know, but I basically saw her on telly and I was like thinking, I was doing the podcast at the time and I was like thinking, I really need her on. This would be really good for me. And two, it's really interesting, captivating, down-to-earth woman who wants to spread her message, and her message about parish councilling and politics. She really wanted to spread her message, and I think that a lot of people, I didn't want it to be seen as, there was this chairman that was a bit, what's the word?
The chairman from the Handforth Parish Council. I can't think of the word.
What's the word?
She was a bit,
when you're not sexist, but you're misogynistic.
Misogynist.
He was a bit misogynistic, like, oh, you've got no authority here, and all that type of bollocks. And I was like thinking, gosh, I know she's got a story to tell, and I really like getting stories from people, John. So
You'll be getting plenty of stories from me.
Plenty of stories from John. So basically, I found her email online. I searched hours for this. Saw a Jackie Weaver at, I can't remember, and probably something that I don't want to disclose just in case people send us spam. But
she's probably in retirement anyway now.
Yes.
Probably in retirement.
But Jackie was nothing but a good sport. I sent her an email. She got back to me. I was like, she said, yeah, I'll do it.
What a legend.
I'll do it. I think I still have the email on my phone. And she says, I'll do it. I was like, what? Really? I was like, is this the real... I was hoping this wasn't just some random parish councillor with the same name as Jackie, and it's going to be someone with black hair and be like, hiya. And I was like, oh, you're not Jackie Weaver. Not the one I want. But no, it was generally Jackie Weaver. And I was like... oh my goodness me, I could not believe it, because she was on mainstream at the time, yeah. And then she gives me her details and stuff. We get it on Skype, and to this day I was like thinking, I don't actually know if it's actually her or not, And it popped up and it said Jackie Weaver as a profile picture. I was thinking, imagine this is a big scam.
Imagine if it's a scam, yeah.
Before the podcast, before the episode, John, I actually got in trouble with my parents for something. I actually can't remember what that thing was, and I would actually say if I remembered, but something stupid. So they were mad with me.
Something trivial. You stole all my biscuits from the cupboard, George.
Yeah, probably, knowing me. So basically, that happened.
Mother was not very happy that George took her biscuits from the cupboard, so she grounded him. Almost putting the infamous Jackie Weaver interview in jeopardy, but thankfully,
genuinely, they was like, we're going to let you do the interview, but we're not happy with you, but I still wish you good luck. And I remember thinking, not only have I got my parents disappointed with me, and I can't even remember what it was, but there was a bit, we wish you good luck, but you're a naughty boy. I was like 14 at the time, 13, I can't remember. And anyway, so I goes onto the podcast thinking, God, I feel a bit crap here, but I'm going to compose myself and talk to Jackie. And, obviously I don't hold anything against my parents, because, when you're a kid, you're a little bit of a rascal as a kid, aren't you? But anyway, I went on there with Jackie, until she popped up and actually saw it. I could not believe it. I was like, hello, Jackie. And if you watch it back, I couldn't help stop smiling the whole time. And it went as good as it could. I know there's stuff that if I look back now, I could do a lot better and improve on. But for how I was and what I knew then, it went better than I thought, than I thought it could. Obviously, I look back and I go, oh, no, and I cringe at some bits. But overall, I look back and I go, well, I was learning my trade. Again, I'm not a finished article. I'm nobody, really. Like, I don't even sit here and pretend like I had near mild success with channels, because I only got like 100 subscribers. But again, I do this because I enjoy it. And one of the things that I really look back on and cringe at, John, is one of the bits I'm like, damn it. She said in one bit, the kids call me the Tetris Queen. And I said, why is that, Jackie? Why did they call you the Tetris Queen? And she went, because I'm good at Tetris. And I wanted to die in that moment, John.
One of those moments you want the ground to open up and just swallow you
I
whole.
wanted to die, John.
Oh.
Because I was like thinking, oh no. But thank goodness she was a good sport about it. We moved on very promptly, and she was nothing but nice, nothing but good, and we got a good message from her. And I wonder what she's doing today.
Yes, well, I hope that she's out there somewhere in retirement, hopefully with her feet up, not having to deal with any more council meetings or anything of the sort. It's a bit of a shame, because she was one of the few good things to come out of lockdown.
Yeah, she was.
And she was all over the news. I think you said as well, didn't Jeremy Vine interview her?
It's right before I got her.
Right before, so before Jeremy Vine.
Yeah.
Right. Before this big name broadcaster. It's George Colloon, a school student, 15, 16 years old at the time, spotty teenager. Jackie Weaver's taken the time out of her day to interview you. I think it's fantastic.
I couldn't believe it. Like, because she had a busy time schedule, she gave me 30 minutes. She did not have to do that. She didn't. Like, who am I? How's she going to benefit from me? Like, who am I? Like, I'm just a kid, right, at this point. I'm just a nobody at a school with you.
Oh, thanks.
That really I did not mean it like that. What I'm trying to say
We're both
is,
catching strays here. It's a great pilot episode.
we're both picking on each other.
Yes, I can tell you now for a fact this is normal. No, it's not. We're really, really good friends. In reality.
Means a lot, John.
Yeah.
Same to you, but
it's fantastic she took the time of day to.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean. She'd benefit nothing from me. Like, and it was 100% me and nothing really for her. And she took the time out of her day to give a teenager, while she's at the top and the biggest that she'd ever been in her life at that point, fame was new to her. So it's easy for anyone to go, oh, well, I only want the big people interviewing me, or depends what kind of character.
I think you're bigger than Jeremy Vine anyway.
Obviously. I don't even know what we're on about. Who's Jeremy Vine? But
who is he?
But what I mean is,
I heard he's got a breakfast TV show. I think he's got a radio show, and I think he's a cyclist. He's had a few Twitter feuds with Joey Barton, but
yes.
Who is he? George Colloon's bigger.
Literally.
You'll have your own morning TV show on Channel 5 in a few years. Don't you worry.
No, absolutely, 100%. We'll both have a show to talk about.
Both have a successful career in television. Maybe go into acting.
Yes.
It's a good question, actually. I think this thing as well. How did the Jackie Weaver interview look at? Obviously, Lincoln College would have looked at that and would have seen, wow, he's got talent here. How did that go for your college application? Because they would have definitely seen that and they would have been impressed.
First of all, it means a lot that you think that, and second of all, the college tutors were. I hate saying this because it feels like I'm blowing smoke up my bum, and I don't really want to do that. I'm not the sort of character that goes, I'm amazing, look at me, But the college tutors were impressed. They were they were very much they loved it. They said as much. They said, "Oh, we really enjoyed the interview, George. We absolutely, we look forward to seeing what more you have to offer," because I had to obviously I had to send a film review in as well.
Yeah.
And take some photographs and send my portfolio in. And they said, yeah, it's good starting blocks. We can work with you. You know, and ever since then, my tutors and everyone has been very, very good. I wouldn't want to say their names again. I've mentioned them on previous college podcasts going online. So unless they say otherwise, I think I'm allowed to say. I want to say, you know, Rachel, James, and George at the time were really nice and been really helpful to me, and they've taught me a lot when it comes to media. I mean, some of this stuff that I'm doing now, I wouldn't have known back in Jackie Weaver's day. I wouldn't know what a Zoom is. What's a Zoom? What's this microphone thingy? What you do? Connect it? How do I make it sound crisp? You know, what's that knobby there? You know, I don't really have much experience with knobs, but you know, I was like thinking to myself, yeah, they've taught me a lot. They've really taught me a lot, and I'm ever grateful to them. And new tutor Billy that's coming as well. He's a good laugh.
Yeah. Have you got any more questions for me then, George? Because you're asking me some quick fire questions, weren't you?
I was.
It's great to hear about the Jackie Weaver story. I think
Thank you.
it's amazing.
Thank
really,
you.
I do.
Thank you. That generally means a lot. But I don't want to be defined by one podcast or one moment. I hope that we can create some more memories. And I wanted to say that I wanted to ask. So we talked about your favourite meal deal, John.
Yes.
What do you do to wind down at night?
I will
not
play a
I'm
bit.
so sorry.
No,
I can't
no.
keep a straight face. What do you do?
I don't think there was anything wrong with that. No, it's you, George, you dirty minded sod. No.
What do you do to? So what do you do? So, John, how do you relax?
Play a bit of FIFA.
Yeah.
Watch some YouTube. Scroll through Twitter, social media, and that's it. I mean, that's what I usually do when I get home from college and stuff. Because I usually get home from college quite late in the evening. Because I'm in 5 days a week. Thankfully, this isn't eating into my college timetable.
Yeah.
This is off timetable, so I finished for the day at 12. So whenever I'm not at college, you can either find me at home, at Lincoln Games.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, I'm not a celebrity. I'm not like those people on the other podcasts who start a podcast and then they immediately make loads of money overnight. That's not me. I think what I'm trying to get at is if you see me in Lincoln, feel free to say hello. I'm not a celebrity. I won't shy away.
Believe me, John. They'll want to avoid us after they've listened to this podcast.
Yes.
Yes.
I try not to go on a tangent because I do tend to get carried away.
It's a podcast, John. Come on. That's what happens. That's what we do.
No, that's what I want to do.
That's what we do. But I'll tell you some. So you wind down quite a normal way, which is pretty decent, you know. So we'd like. And is there any particular favourite activities that you like to do? Is there any favourite shows?
Things I like to watch. Call me boring, call me sad, but I like watching old soaps. Because I kind of grew. This is the bit we were waiting for.
God.
So
I've done this to myself.
yeah, you have.
I
You ask
didn't
me
read
what my favourite soaps are.
If I have to. So, John, what's your favourite soap?
Corrie.
Really?
Classic Corrie, yeah. I love Coronation Street.
He loves Coronation Street.
Probably not the modern ones because I think they're a bit boring.
Yeah.
All the soaps. And I think probably because of streaming, because of Netflix and all that.
Yeah.
I don't think you find a lot of quality soaps and a lot of quality TV shows and films because they're all like franchised now, or the demand from Netflix means that the television companies might not get the revenue from the commercials and then they lose money, so they have to find cheap actors and they drop all these big storylines.
Absolutely, and
stuff
stabbings and all that type.
It's a bit gory nowadays.
It's very gory, isn't it? John, you have made impressions in the back of our car.
Oh no.
And I really think...
Oh, you're going to get me to do some impressions.
he's shitting himself.
Yeah.
Is there any impressions out there that you like doing particularly? Because I'm sure the fans... Well, I say that term loosely. I'm sure the spectators would love to hear that. Hear some, yeah.
You have to give me some.
Jim McDonald.
Off my own record. Oh no. See, I can't do a Northern Irish accent.
You did. You did it in the back of the car, John.
You listen to me, Elizabeth. Peter Borla was at the party. You can't box, KSI.
Some of our viewers might not know who Jim McDonald is, so shall we give him a bit of context?
Basically, Jim McDonald is this big, butch, moustached Irishman, but back in the day, he was a soap character, and he was a character that was known for his wife, Les. He was with Les.
soap character.
He was with Les McDonald, and basically, everyone loves doing a Jim McDonald accent because not only is he Irish, but he's infamous.
He's
for this.
Irish, so he is.
He's infamous for this phrase. Open the bloody door, Les! Open the bloody door! You better open up, Les!
Yeah, he's quite an aggressive character. Is our Jim?
Yeah, he is.
Infamous soap villain. Do you want to call him a villain?
Again, like, he was put on this villain tiered list, wasn't he?
Villain tier list.
How is he a villain?
Well, to be fair, he did rob a bank, didn't he?
Do you know
he
what?
stole
He got me
£120,000 out of a bank just so he could buy a pub to be with his wife and son again. So sweet. He's a family
sweet.
man. He's a family man.
He's a family man, so yes, John. I know. Do you know what? You've got me there. I suppose he is a bit. He hit his wife. He stole money from a bank. He had wrestling matches with Stephen.
By the way, I can promise you now, this is not going to be exclusively a Coronation Street or an EastEnders podcast. I can promise you now. I could talk about them for hours on end, but I promise you now, some of you might not like soap, so...
Well, that's why we're going to upload shorts, aren't we, John?
Yes. I wasn't really... I knew I always grew up with them because they were always on in the background, but I never really paid much attention to soap. I knew all the characters and stuff, but I wasn't really a big fan of soap as a kid, and then somehow I've just started watching them again.
Yeah.
As I've got a bit older. EastEnders was the first one I really got into. I think everyone knows EastEnders. Especially Phil Mitchell. Love Phil Mitchell.
Phil Mitchell's the most iconic character in the history
very iconic
of
character.
soaps, isn't he? Like, he has this way about him, doesn't he? So Phil is basically, if you don't know who Phil is, you're living under a rock, by the way. Phil is part of the Mitchell family, and the Mitchell family's mother is Peggy, and they did have a father that is mentioned quite a lot, but he's off screen. Although they went back to the past, didn't they, through an episode with Eric Mitchell robbing the train. And if I'm honest, that scene where they, I know I'm spoiling it for a few people, that scene where they shoot the police officer is quite emotional. Like, I know that people are going to go.
Oh, police officer's been shot. Very sad.
Oh, wow, a police
emotional.
officer died. George,
well, to be fair.
How dare you, stick with the feds and all that type of thing. But mate, it was the camera work, wasn't it? On his face, in his last moments, it was the camera work. It shot a medium shot of his face. His eyes lit up. He's like, please don't shoot me. And better acting than that. And I couldn't help but pull a few heartstrings because I'm thinking, God, obviously he's playing a character, but if this is a real scenario, he has a family, he has kids. But I know that you all don't want to hear me talk about that because it's EastEnders. Who cares? Jake Moon's brother died, and it was Jake that shot him, and we was all like, oh my God, ha 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 ha, what a weird and funny death. We saw Grant Mitchell nearly cry, what a baby. Oh. Do you know what I mean?
Seen Ross Kemp cry. Oh,
I couldn't believe it.
Anybody actually ever seen Ross Kemp cry?
Only once when...
He's very macho.
Is it Danny Moon?
Which one?
The younger one that's Jake Moon's brother. He has him.
Is he the one who used to run the Vic with Kat? Alfie?
No.
I can't remember.
Jake Moon, yeah. Because he's the brother of Alfie, Jake Moon.
I think it is Jake,
and then there's another Moon.
I don't know, I couldn't tell you.
It might have not been brothers, but they were both
See, I claim to be a fan of EastEnders and I don't know all the characters.
But he had the gun to Grant Mitchell's head. And Grant Mitchell looked like he was about to cry. And that is the only moment, apart from when Vinnie Jones came up to him in extras.
Oh, is it the scene where they were in Phil and Grant were in the forest?
Yes.
Yes, I saw that the other week, actually, funny enough.
And it's the only time Grant ever looks like a softie. And who wouldn't when they're about to lose their life to a gun, right? I think even the hardest man in the world would definitely show some sort of emotion thinking about seeing the family for the last time.
He's a phenomenal actor.
He is actually.
I mean, they all. I mean, especially Phil, the actor who plays Phil, fantastic
Steve
actor.
McFadden, yeah.
Yes, he's played some really big. He's playing a big storyline at the minute, actually, depression storyline.
Yeah.
And I think the actor's just he's fantastic. He's played loads of like big stories over the years, and obviously his crackhead phase, sleeping with his brother's wife.
I want to know.
Nearly burning his mum's pub down. His mum dying. These big storylines. Car crash with Ian Beale.
I want to know how Phil. How he just...
The alcoholic
not Phil,
storylines.
Steve McFadden, how does he act so drunk so accurately?
He's
How does he do it?
I don't know.
I couldn't, because it just looked like someone playing drunk, unless I had a few Jaeger bombs. You know what I mean? Like, I could do it, but you'd be like, yeah, you're just pretending, you over-exaggerate. But with Steve McFadden, it just generally looks like he's drunk. I know that they have this special effects makeup to make it look like his eyes and it got bags and he's red, but isn't that amazing how he can do that?
It's fantastic. One of my favourite scenes involving Phil Mitchell has to be when he got I think it was a crane.
Oh,
he was drunk. He got a crane and he smashed up the car shop.
He did.
I think was it Max Branning's car shop? Was it his car shop? I can't remember who owned the car shop.
Yeah.
Anyways, a little car shop, like a little porter cabin, and he just gets into this crane, drunk, and he just starts smashing the gaff.
Yes, absolutely.
And I just think, how can an actor play a drunk so well like that?
I totally
genuinely.
agree. They're two hard lads from Wolford, aren't they? But
Phil and Grant, they're iconic. I mean, you don't even have to watch EastEnders to know who they are.
yeah, absolutely. Totally agree. Speaking of soaps, John, there actually was another thing that I wanted to talk about. There was this actor, and I'm sure you know who he is, that got let go, called Luca Toolan. And I just felt that he was very, very good, and it's a shame they let him go. He acted his role perfectly, so if you didn't know, he was the bully Mason, and he bullied somebody else. Can't remember the kid's name offhand, and that other kid actor's pretty good as well at what he does. But basically, Mason was this big, massive bully who had knives, and he got killed off. I'm not going to tell you how, because you might have not seen it, but Mason is basically this bully, and there were so many scenes when it came to knife crime and so many scenes when it came to bullying that he just acted so well.
Yeah.
And I just think that Luca's got a big career ahead of him, hasn't he?
Yeah, and I think I think it hits home really when you've got not just soaps, but like TV shows that a lot of people, millions of people sit down to watch, and especially with a soap like that, loads of millions of people will watch it, and they'll see that they're bringing up like topical subjects like knife crime, like homophobia, racism, stuff like that, and people will actually see that, and I think it's important topics that need to be covered, and I think a lot of people will see that, and they will also, I think, it will raise awareness. So some people might have dealt with that. Obviously, I mean, knife crime reports every day, people getting stabbed to death and people losing loved ones and stuff. So for like a massive soap that millions of people watch to like focus on something so important it's huge, I think.
Yeah, I just think it's really important to showcase these stories for sure, and people might go, it's another depressing storyline, but does it help? I think it spreads awareness. Yeah. But ultimately, I think these people that stab other people, I couldn't tell you what they think because I'm not that way inclined.
No.
But what I can tell you is you've not got Mason Radcliffe going, no, stop, you're not going to stab my mate John over here. But you do have a sense of awareness of what the families go through, and if anyone that is going to commit the crime, or maybe even just people that may just don't understand the whole thing in general, people are going to look at it and from an open eye and go, wow, that really does affect more people than just the one person, and I suppose it gives clarity that when you take a life, when you, in any walk of life, take one, I believe you're not only taking one life, you're taking multiple people's life. Because the mother never recovers, the father never recovers, the brother and sister and auntie, you never recovers. And if they come to terms with it, but they never recover. And that person that you're taking away, regardless of what they've done, you know, they have a whole life ahead of them.
Yeah.
A whole life. And I think it's cruel that people can take a life like that.
Yeah. And I think it's important for these, as I said, like these big TV shows that people watch, like these dramas and soaps and stuff. I think it's important that they do like cover these big topics and subjects that a lot of people will need. Like like it raises awareness for them.
Yeah,
definitely. But anyway, should we move on to a lighter
Let's get
subject?
to a lighter subject. What's your thoughts on the Prem at the moment?
Sorry, a bit tired, folks.
Yeah.
Late night after the football. No, the Premier League at the moment is very competitive.
Yeah.
I think I don't watch a lot of football outside of Lincoln, I'll be honest. But I've had a few people have said to me, oh, your ball knowledge is fantastic. You've got the best ball knowledge in the group, all that. So I think this podcast is a test of my ball knowledge to a wider audience and to my peers as well.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'll be straight up. I've got good...
I say you've got pretty good ball knowledge.
I'd say mine's decent when it comes to lower league football. Put me in the Prem, I'm probably better with the older Prem. Nowadays, I probably don't have as much. I do keep up with the Prem, but I'm probably not the greatest person. I couldn't tell you about the Prem as much as someone else. But when it comes to League One, I'm probably more my specialty. But you have a great mind when it comes to football. You remember players like that.
I think I'm better with the EFL.
Yeah.
Because that's more of like, it's more relevant to Lincoln, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, the Premier League's just... I'm not from this. It's not what it used to be.
No,
the Premier League is not what it used to be.
It's not, is it?
I don't think any football's really... You look at Birmingham, come down to the League One, they spent £20 million on signings.
Yeah.
You've got Huddersfield spending $3 million on Joe Taylor.
Yeah.
He's a good player. He's not worth $3 million though.
No.
But I love Joey still, and I wish we got him back. But James Collins is all right. He's not bad.
He's not bad.
But yeah, and it's like this point again. As I said, it's not the same. Modern football. Yeah, fair enough. There's good players, there's good teams, but I prefer like football like how it was 10, 15, 20 years ago.
I agree.
When you had your Berbatovs, your Rooneys, your Van Persies, your Drogbas, all these type of players, Torres, all these sort of Okocha.
Who's your goat?
My goat, it's Rico Hackett.
Mine has to be Danny Mandroy. No, it's not.
On a real, if you're talking Messi, Ronaldo, I say Messi. Messi's done it all.
Yeah.
Literally, he's done it all.
I would say
He's got the
Messi.
most goals in a calendar year, the most goals in a season, World Cup, multiple Ballon d'Ors.
Yeah, I think, it was very comparable until that World Cup win. That World
Cup win, I think, definitely.
It settled the debate for me. Like, I know that people can say, oh yeah, but Ronaldo scored more goals in history. And Ronaldo, like, that, this comparison is always the greatest one that I can give. Ronaldo's like the football that was built to be a machine, he's the manufactured footballer that's, enhanced his skills from nothing, whereas Messi's the blessed one from that. He's the blessed natural footballer.
He's the
he?
proper...
I think that's the best way to compare it. And Ronaldo is very good, and he's so comparable, very comparable. And I love Ronaldo, and I think his attitude is outstanding. Yeah. However, I think Messi is so naturally gifted, hard-working enough where, his natural talents not only blossomed but won him everything. And people go, oh yeah, he only won the Copa America, blah, blah, blah. Right, Copa America, although obviously it's not as strong as a competition because it's just unfortunate. Again, there is some good teams in there, don't get me wrong. It's still the equivalent to the Euros because it's that continent, isn't it? Messi is unfortunate that he wasn't born in a European nation because he could have had a Euros and a World Cup, then there's no doubt, is there? But because he could only have access to the Copa America, I can only really say that that's kind of... It's not the equivalent. Again, skill-wise, not the equivalent, but it is because it's a continent game. It's a continent competition.
It's a continental competition, isn't it?
That's what I mean. So I think people get mixed up when they hear Copa America, like the Euros. Nah. Yeah, all right, I get the skill-wise better. But again, you can say that to me, but then you go, well, he won a World Cup. No debate there.
No.
Ronaldo didn't win a World Cup. The World Cup is the highest one as well, plus the Champions Leagues. So Messi has not only won a World Cup, which is the upper echelons of sports, it is the greatest sporting attraction. It is the highest peak athleticism, peak, facing everybody. I'd probably say Europe's higher competition level until you get to the quarters and the semis.
Yeah.
By the way, but what I'm trying to say is the World Cup's the biggest competition in the world. He won that. One of the hardest with the Champions League, and then he's also won Champions Leagues.
Yeah.
He's played in European football. Again, the one thing that does get to me about the Messi and Ronaldo debate, and I'll tell you right now.
I think both sides.
There is both sides to the story. Ronaldo has played in more places and been successful. Like, he's played in Italy, been successful. Played in Spain, been successful. Played in the UK, been successful. Saudi, I'm not going to count that.
Would you argue, though, that as well as that, the level in Saudi is weaker than MLS? Or would you argue that Saudi is stronger, but only because they've been able to attract players with the money?
I say as a whole, the MLS is stronger because the MLS has been going on for a longer time. It's had more room to establish.
It's more
the
relevance.
Academies in America are spot on, by the way. They've improved no end. And there's still good players, and a lot of players do go over there.
Yeah.
Last 3 years, Saudi League's improved no end, but you still have those players that no one's heard of or are nearly as good as MLS players. And don't get me wrong, it's a competitive league, and some of these players that have gone over there, it's are big names. It's like the MLS when Beckham signed, and then all of a sudden, there's all these big names. I still class the MLS as a stronger league, and that's not me being biased, by the way. But again, when people bring up this, Ronaldo's played for more clubs. Again, the Champions League, Messi's played against English teams. Yes. Messi's played against German teams.
Messi's played against all sorts. The same with Ronaldo as well. They've played against all sorts, and they've all come out.
But I personally think Messi. But again,
Messi.
That's just an opinion. I feel really bad because Ronaldo's so good. Ronaldo is one of a kind. Ronaldo is in that conversation. But if you're talking about that conversation to me, I personally believe Messi's better. Goal stats, Ronaldo's the greatest, isn't he? But when it comes to just pure... Messi's not only got great goals and great assists and great records, he has a World Cup to back it up.
He has a World Cup to back up. And a lot of people say penalties. There were a lot of favourable decisions given in Argentina as well at that World Cup. And I won't argue against that, yes. Yeah. But at the same time, you got to think, Messi, yes, he's got a lot of penalties in that World Cup, but he also dragged Argentina to that World Cup. Yeah. Because they'd lost to Saudi in the first game. Yeah. They lost to Saudi Arabia, I think it was 2-1. Yes, and everybody was saying, oh my God, there's no way Saudi Arabia beat Argentina at the World Cup.
I remember that.
And then after that, Argentina just go on this mad run where they then win every game, and then penalty shootouts, of course. I think it was the semi-final against Morocco. I think they won like 3-0. And I think from that point on, after the quarterfinals, you just knew that I think Argentina were just the favourites because they had Messi and Messi was carrying them through. And I know France had a strong team.
I'd say, I personally thought France would be the favourites, but I just had this inkling that it was Messi's year. I really did. I just had this inkling. And it's obviously Argentina.
That was it. That was
Martinez.
Yes.
It would without Martinez.
I think it was Croatia.
Messi's a runner-up again, isn't he?
I think it was Croatia they played.
Yeah.
Because there was talk of a France-Croatia rematch in the final, and I remember thinking it's just so boring, because that's what they had 4 years ago.
And we know the result of that, by the way. Yeah. We know what happens.
But then Argentina obviously go and win the World Cup. Yeah. Messi plays a blinder in the final.
Yeah.
Final goes to pens, but Messi plays a blinder in regular time, extra time, and Argentina go on and win. I think for me, that World Cup win, Messi played a big part. Ronaldo, I don't think he played such a big part in the Euro 2016 triumph, in the final especially, because he obviously came off injured.
He injured in the 26th minute, wasn't it? Yeah.
But I think Messi played a massive part in that final. Biggest game in world football, and he just played a massive part in that game.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think that settles the debate, doesn't it? Really,
For
personally,
me,
for me,
definitely.
As soon as he won the World Cup, it was the final. He's checkers.
Yeah.
Got you. Very, very good game.
France made it very competitive in that
Very,
game.
very good game, Ronaldo.
I think if
but
Emi Martinez had not made that save from Kolo Muani, it would have been a different story.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think,
Messi.
Messi.
I think Messi really has to thank Emi Martinez a lot.
Yes. And then Emi Martinez came up tops in the shootout as well.
Yes, he did.
I don't think he's the best goalkeeper in the world, but I think he's up there.
He impresses me every time he plays. I really think he doesn't get enough plaudits.
Emi Martinez is
So
he's a shithouse.
Yes.
Actually is. And I think a lot of people don't like him because of his antics. But he's such a, he's a great goalkeeper, isn't he?
Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Thank you very much, John, for coming on to the podcast. We've spoke a lot, haven't we?
A lot about a lot of different stuff.
Absolutely.
It's been an absolute pleasure to be part of this exciting new. Well, say new. It's brand new look,
season, isn't it?
New
Absolutely.
look podcast. It'll be fantastic, and I think
lots of guests coming up.
Yes.
Ones you've not heard of and ones that you have heard of. I think with the ones that you haven't heard of, it's good to learn about people, and there's some interesting ones. But there is going to be some that we have heard of. Some exciting. Trust me, John, we've got some exciting content coming up very, very soon.
Can we go bigger than Jackie Weaver?
Well,
Stay
I don't
tuned.
know, but I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, we'll find out.
That's way concept, sorry. But what we have to say is, we may not be weekly free, but we soon will be.